young, you're not married, you got nothing else to do. Does that make you a good recruiter?
Well, apparently. No, I think being young is always good to be able to relate to people, but more than anything, I think it's about building relationships and, identifying with people. And, I've lived in so many different places. It's really helped me out to, understand different people, and it's been good for me. So that's what I attribute it to.
How long have you felt like you had a chance to be a good recruiter?
I never thought about it. I just show up to work every day. I never gave it much thought. So there was no plan, no thought. Just show up to work and do what you can.
Brian, just talk about I know some expectations come in with Sean and Jackson and those guys, but when you're a young tight end, what are some of the obstacles that they have to overcome early to try to find the field early?
Being in the SEC, it's always a physical position, especially at the point of attack. I think, with how Coach Cheney uses tight ends and moves them around and different things, I think it's a lot of moving parts, but it's really good for the guys. And they've really responded and they've done well. So I'm very proud of them and very happy that they're here.
How would you compare how you guys used Dom last year to how you think he'll be used this year?
Slightly different. I think, he definitely fits into our offense well, and he's really good for Coach Cheney's plan in the future for using tight ends. I think he's always had great tight ends in all of his offenses. I think there's some crazy stat about how many, receptions they had every year and how many receiving yards he's always had a tight end, but he fits in well.
What's the biggest difference you see in him now that he's had a year in the program? How has he changed from last year?
Coming from being a quarterback in high school and really a stand-up receiver, being able to put his hand on the ground and really do all the facets. He can protect really well. He can run block well, and he can obviously catch the ball very well. So just being a complete tight end and really developing for the next level.
What have you seen from Coach Cheney in the 7 months or so he's been here that you think makes him the kind of coach that he is?
He's a very intelligent man. Jim Cheney's very smart. He does a great job, identifying matchups, identifying personnel. He's been different everywhere he's been. I think that he really works to what he has, and he's very smart. He's done it a long time, and he's seen a lot of things, so I hope to learn a lot from him.
Last year you guys had a pretty tight rotation in tight end, but now two of those guys are playing defensive line. How many guys do you hope to kind of be involved in that unit on a game-to-game basis this year?
You always want to get a rotation going, and that'll all be game plan specific, so it all depends. But yes, we'd like to have a rotation at tight end.
You guys have had several guys that have been predominantly blockers in the past. How important is it to have guys that are both a threat in the pass game and blocking, so you're not as predictable in personnel?
Well, I think for us at tight end, we always want to be, a threat to catch the ball. So we always focus on being able to do both things. So that's important, obviously, so you don't give away personnel in a game plan. But we think we're moving towards that, and we're doing a good job.
Do you feel those freshmen have the potential to be two-way type of guys like that?
Yeah, I have 3 guys I got at freshmen, tight ends for us. I mean, they do a good job. I think, obviously Sean and Jackson and Hunter Salmon, and, all 3 of those guys do a good job, along with Andrew Craig and, everybody else. So, Warren, everybody. So.
It looks like Jacob has really added some bulk. I mean, he's still not the most physical guy, but how far has he progressed in being able to hold up that way?
He's made some really good strides since he got here. Coach Pruitt, when he signed him, had a plan for him to gain the amount of weight, and Jacob's done everything we've asked him to do.
When you were recruiting Henry To'o, what was your response when you found out that he broke his leg and then played in the state championship game?
He broke his foot, actually, and he played in the first half, and he played through a lot of pain. He's a great kid. He's a great competitor. He's extremely tough. He's got great family values. I think all of that contributes to him being such a phenomenal athlete, with the guidance of his parents.
How impressive was it to see what he did in that first half with broken foot?
He did a pretty good job. I mean, I know you're in a lot of pain with the injury he had, so it was impressive.
When you're working on Dom as a blocker, what kinds of things have you emphasized with him over the last year?
You always talk about hand placement, second foot in the ground. I think everybody in the tight end position, we always talk about alignment, assignment, eyes, and then your first step, which is most important, and then your finish. So those things.
You've talked about traveling all over the place and kind of learning to relate to people through that. Is there a specific stop along the way that you feel like resonated the most with you, or you learned the most?
Probably when I went to school at Butte Junior College. I lived in a literally a 4-bedroom apartment with like 10 dudes. It was pretty funny. So it was, I had a lot of close friends, and you get really close after that, a lot of camaraderie and stuff like that. So that's probably it.
What would you say you learned from having all those guys crammed in one place?
Everybody's from somewhere else. So, you know, we talk about Rock Hill, South Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, St. Pete, and down in Florida, you know, Seattle, Washington. We're all so different, but we're all such good friends. Playing offense for Jim Chaney. We have the best athletic director in the whole country in Philip Fulmer, and I believe that. So for us, I mean, it's not a hard sell. The community, the people, the tradition, it's pretty unreal. So there's no real change. It's pretty much, hey, this is who we are. We want to find the people that want to be a part of it.
Coach, as a recruiter, how much of a grind is it, or is there any pressure that comes along with, you know, you can put together a top 10 class here at Tennessee and still be 4th and 5th in your conference?
You know, again, you never really think about it. I mean, you go out every day. Today I got in early this morning. We worked on our tapes to get everything ready and show the guys what mistakes we made yesterday and good things they did yesterday. So for me, it's you just go each and every single day, take it one day at a time.
When the season starts, what is the daily routine like for you in terms of dividing your responsibilities with as a tight ends coach and a recruiting guy?
You know, obviously the majority of it is being on a tight ends coach and getting the guys ready to play, because most importantly, you know, you want to play good that weekend. And, you know, obviously you take the time for your top guys and you sit there and you recruit some dudes. But for us, I mean, getting our guys ready to play is the most important thing, because at the end of the day, if you're not getting those guys ready to play, when the new recruits come in, you're spending all your time with somebody else. It doesn't really matter.
How much more comfortable do you feel kind of in this role as the on-field tight ends coach? You had so much experience previously coaching defense, but kind of being the tight ends coach at Tennessee in year 2 now.
A lot. I mean, obviously, I played some tight end in college and then coached receivers at a Division III school. But I think I've felt a lot more comfortable this year. You know, I think going into it and like I tell anybody, everybody says, you know, this and that, but everything's learned from somebody. You know, you learn a lot going through this first year. You really do well in the second year.
Does it help when you're talking to prospects that you've been on both sides of the ball? It's easier to relate to any kid out there?
I mean, I'm sure, you know, you can talk about a variety of topics with, you know, either side of the ball. You know, having a really good knowledge of the defense helps me as a position coach on offense, because you really understand what they're trying to get, you know, accomplished over there.
Brian, when Tennessee had a role in maybe recruiting West Coast kids routinely, I know you try to, you know, make an imprint out there. How important is the other side of the United States to try to recruit some of those kids to here?
You know, I think Tennessee is such a national brand. I think you're recruiting either in the Northeast, you're recruiting, you know, South Florida, you're recruiting over in California or Seattle, Washington. Any of those places you talk about recruiting, you know, Las Vegas, any of those places for us, I mean, are going to be huge. It's a national brand. Tennessee's always had that power, so hopefully we'd like to get back to exactly where they were in the, you know, 90s and early 2000s.
In terms of your own development, what would this Brian Niedermeyer tell the guy a year ago who's getting ready to start this season?
Just word.
When you were in junior college, how much were your views kind of shifted and changed by the people you were surrounded by? You know, coming from Alaska to all of a sudden you're hanging out with guys from Florida and Charlotte, that area.
Well, for me, I think my mom's originally from Coral Gables, Miami. We'd spend 3 months every year there. So for us, I would spend the whole entire summer down in Miami. But I think you learn, yeah, not bad. But you learn to really adjust, you know, and understand different people's upbringings and things like that. And it's a really empowering thing for me. I've really enjoyed going to all these different places and you know, really interacting with all these different people. You know, everything's so different depending on where you grow up, how you grow up. You know, you really understand that, you know, it's a beautiful thing to be around a lot of different people.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.